I'm going to try and say this without causing a riot in the comment section, but I don't like how F1 has been parading Ayrton Senna's body or dead body around as a marketing tool. I get it, he died. He's a great driver. That doesn't mean that you get to milk his death. And, there's a fine line between honoring him and milking it. Statue in his name at Imola, honoring. Sebastian Vettel doing a charity run, I'm pretty sure, where he goes and he talks about, the track and where Senna died and stuff about Senna's life. Honoring, it's a lot for a single driver. Not many drivers get that kind of treatment, but honoring, McLaren dishing out merch, making a whole Monaco livery. Ooh, and the thing is, you can't really talk about it without sounding like a Senna hater. As in, even now, I feel like a Senna hater, but I get it. Senna's a great driver. He's probably the greatest driver to die on the job. But that doesn't mean we need to glorify and turn him into essentially a god. Because unlike things like Miami, when F1 teams release stupid Miami merch, everyone's so quick to call it out. Yeah, you're just milking the event. Yeah, we get it. It's in Miami. We get it. We get it. It's an American Grand Prix. You're trying to appeal to people. You're trying to sell your extra flowery Miami merch. But nobody wants to call out the fact that McLaren, for years, have been using Ayrton Senna as a marketing tool. Because let's all be very honest, Ayrton Senna, his colors, they slap. Who doesn't like that yellow and green helmet? Everybody likes it. Everybody wants that yellow and green helmet. So when you've got that for the cap merch, when you've got that for the regular merch, when you've got the drivers pulling it out, when you've got teams making liveries out of it, it's cool to see. It's actually cool to see. Especially because unlike Miami, this is being milked out of something or someone rather that is actually deeply associated in F1 history. But where it kind of goes a bit too far is when you start milking it. I get it. Senna's gone, but there's no need to turn him into a god. And I think teams know that you can't really say anything bad about Senna, even though Senna was not a perfect human being. He was a quick racing driver, but he wasn't a perfect human being. He wasn't, advocating, he wasn't pushing the boundaries for human rights. I'll say that. But he was a great driver. And you can give him his props and you can send your condolences and you can honor him as an F1 legend. But that doesn't mean you have to parade him like he is literally the only faultless driver. I can't think. Probably him and maybe Schumacher are the only drivers that are paraded as faultless. I can't think of the last time someone criticized Senna. I can't think of it. I can think of the last time someone criticized Schumacher, and he's probably the closest one to him, saying, "Oh, he crashed into Damon Hill to crash him out of the championship and stuff like that." But Senna, you won't catch someone saying anything bad about Senna in the Formula One community because it's not even taboo. It's just that you'll almost get rejected from the community because in the F1 community we have a few things that we love to hold dearly for no reason at all. The first thing we love to hold dearly for no reason at all is the 80s and the 90s in terms of driving. But when those eras of cars and driving wasn't that interesting if you actually go back and watch the races. The second thing we hold dearly is dead drivers, which isn't specific for F1. A lot of industries, someone brought this up, like when someone dies doing their craft, it instantly gives them legend status, especially if they were okay or pretty good at it before. Instantly gives them that legend status. I mean, imagine a time in which Ayrton Senna didn't die and he went on and he had a couple more lackluster years. It wouldn't, it might not be the same. Imagine a reality in which Lewis Hamilton in 2021 died. Imagine he would be goatified. The debate would be over. The debate would be over. Without the whole 22, 23, 24, without the whole, no one would dare touch Sir Lewis Hamilton's name because he's a driver that died on a job. And I think that's the same thing, or rather, that's an example of what is happening with Ayrton Senna. And I'm not quite comfortable anymore with it, and it's definitely disturbing, especially because I'm not sure if you can see that, but oh yeah, in focus. McLaren is, they're selling £45 cheap merch, cheap quality merch of Ayrton Senna that they know that people will chew up and that nobody will complain about. But when they do it for other Grand Prix or for other things, or when F1 does it for other things, it's not so good. I'm all for giving honor to drivers. When Mercedes give honor to Niki Lauda, put a red star on their car, send a heartfelt message of how much Niki meant to them. It's great. Honestly, I love it. But imagine if Mercedes started selling vintage Niki Lauda merch, you know? Like, it starts to feel a bit like, what are you doing? Like, it genuinely, I mean, let's call it spade a spade. It's just a money making tactic. It's just money making. If Senna wasn't as profitable as he was, nobody would be giving Senna this much, or the marketing teams of Formula One and of McLaren wouldn't be giving Senna this much screen time or airtime. There's no way on this planet. It's because Senna is so marketable. It's because nobody can say no to Senna. Are you a real Formula One fan? Well, then you can't say no to Senna. And so that leaves everyone in a predicament where we kind of have to stand and clap. It's kind of like in Germany in 1944, 1945, where everyone would be clapping whilst Hitler was on stage, and nobody would want to be the first person to stop clapping. Like nobody would, because then the no, I think it was a Soviet. Yeah, I think it was in the Soviet Union. You would be clapping, and then if you were like the first person to stop clapping, the KGB would immediately. Well, the KGB would make you mysteriously go missing. It's kind of like that in F1. Like everyone's like, yeah, we love Senna, we love all the match. And then nobody wants to be the first person to stop clapping because it's gonna be like, oh, you're not a true Formula One fan. Are you disrespecting Senna? Oh, so yeah, there's my 2 cents on it. I didn't want to make this long video, but this kind of started to bother me like a week ago, and I thought, you know what, it's Imola, maybe it's an anniversary weekend, so it's gonna stop. And then McLaren released their livery for Monaco, and it was essentially like a Senna helmet as a livery. And I was like, okay, this is going a bit too far. This is going a bit far. I will be honest, it's going a bit long. So there's that.